Hello, and welcome back to yet another episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood. Like I always say, I am so excited to be recording. I don't know how many episodes. We're like well in our threes, yet I don't know. And I just have to say, it's been a great 9 months. On the 24th, made nine. I'm going to talk this way today, so I hope you guys can hear me because I don't have headphones in. We made 9 months. Cannot believe it. Best 9 months of my entire life. Well, not really. I've actually had the worst year of my entire life, but I love Literally My Life and I love doing Literally My Life, and it is just the best thing to like ever happen to me, and I'm just like so over the moon happy, and I love you guys so much. Oh my god. Like I don't know. This has just been an experience, guys. To everybody who listens every week or anybody like who follows, Literally My Life MGTG on Instagram and TikTok, and kind of just stays updated on all things like my guide to girlhood and all things that I update you guys on, and who listens to my chronic oversharing every week. Like, mwah, 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 like the biggest kisses to you, because I don't know how you do it, but you do it every week. And I love you guys so much. So before we get started, like I always say at the beginning of every episode, please follow at Literally My Life MGTG on Instagram and TikTok. If you listen every week and you don't follow us on Instagram and TikTok, it makes literally no sense, because I keep us absolutely updated on everything on Instagram and TikTok. Like, remember 2 episodes ago when I was talking about my 75 hard? I went on TikTok every day and recorded my day and recorded every productive thing I was doing throughout the day, and I had to restart. I actually have to restart tomorrow. Not even kidding. And you would know that if you followed our TikTok. I mean, come on, guys. Like, we have like 2.5K on TikTok or something, and I can't even believe it. And I'm doing like these like get ready with me's and like tutorials and stuff. Like, it's so stuff I just never thought I would do. So love you guys. Okay. Now, without further ado, I really want to get into today's episode topic. Ooh, I don't have a water around me, guys. Again, I'm going to be choking this whole episode. So we're going to be talking about the invisible weight of trauma, which is kind of like, this is going to be definitely a heavier episode, but it's something that I feel really needs to be discussed. I say every episode, I feel like the episodes kind of like coincide with what's going on in my life. And, it was homecoming week. I had a great week last week. I had a great homecoming dance. And guys, go check out the photos on my main Instagram, Elamy and Alexandra. I mean, I just had a really great time. But I just started to dissect a lot, like I always do. Guys, I'm so hot. What is going on? It's so hot out here. I don't even know what's going on. I started to kind of like dissect things like I always do, because that's just the person that I am. And I just started to think a lot, especially today, about the invisible weight of like trauma, especially when others don't see or understand it. And, I've been through a lot. I'm not saying that, I hate to like kind of like put me down or put my trauma down, but my sophomore year, I transferred in. I dealt with a lot of like being picked on, a lot of like bullies. I dealt with so much socially sophomore year. Like, I cannot even get into that's like an episode within itself. I'm not even kidding. Oh god, I'm gonna be choking this whole time. And then my junior year, I faced significant health issues, leaving me with the inability to like walk, talk on my own, eat. Really, I went through the ringer. And, senior year has been extremely complex for me, because it's like, well, now all that's over and I feel a lot better, and I've adjusted better socially, and it's like, okay, well, then I just need my life to improve because my circumstances have improved, so why am I not happier? And that's because, my trauma has been weighing on me. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm really excited to, kind of get into this. So, let's get into it. Okay, so the turning point for me was sophomore and junior year. Okay, obviously, I've been through a lot. Before I went to Whitney Young and before my sophomore and junior year, I went through a lot, right? My parents got divorced when I was really, really young, and I had to move cross country from Denver to Chicago, which was a very interesting thing, and I don't know what happened there, but oh my god, guys, it is so hot out here. Oh my god. I went through a lot, but going to Whitney Young was kind of like that straw that like kind of broke the camel's back. I think Whitney Young is an incredible school. I think, we live up to all the hype. We definitely think academic excellence is the standard, and we have the best sports, and we have a great time, I also believe it's a school that breeds a spirit of competition for sure. For sure. And adjusting to that socially was really hard for me. My sophomore year, and I kind of want to do an episode about that. I'm going to dive into that because I feel like that's a really hot topic for people who know me personally. And I'm willing to talk about it, as I explore my trauma more. But I'll just give you a brief summary today. My sophomore year, I faced a lot of adversity from a lot of different people. I was kind of like the new girl, and people think they can like kind of like punk you when you're the new girl, or like kind of like, bitch you around and do a lot of stuff. And so I dealt with that. I dealt with, being picked on for my height and my weight and my looks and my hair. And I was just paid a significant amount of attention that I didn't ask for due to some other situations. And it weighed on me heavily. And it led me down a path towards the end of sophomore year. I didn't understand that, like, why I was on it. You know what I mean? Like, I went through a lot there. But I'm glad it happened, like even just talking about it now, it's kind of a lot. I'm glad it happened, even though it was significantly difficult, because it taught me so much. But like I always say in these episodes, I wish I had the wisdom of my experiences without the trauma of experiencing them. So sophomore year was extremely challenging. I went through a whole lot of bullshit. And then the summer after my sophomore year, my life took a complete 360 because I went from dealing with a lot of social adversity to dealing with health challenges. I got sick. I want to, do an episode about that too. So I'm also going to give like a short version on that. But I got sick. I essentially couldn't walk or talk or really eat anything on my own at one point, and I got so low and so sick that towards, the end of that, my doctor said I wouldn't even like live through the weekend. I'm like not even kidding. And through God's grace, I'm still here, like, right here in front of you guys, doing this podcast with you guys. And I can't believe I've had the podcast for 9 months and I still have not addressed like me getting sick. Like I have not done that episode yet. And I keep saying like, oh, I'm going to do it. Oh, I'm going to do it. But I've been like, I've been kind of like putting it off because it was so bad for me. I like don't want to relive it. It was that bad for me. It was like that awful. So traumas, okay, that I was trying to figure out, I was like, these two traumas, sophomore year being extremely bullied and then junior year being extremely sick created this invisible pain, and I feel like the reason I really wanted to do this episode is because there's been this huge misconception that because I carry myself well or because I seem or I look healthy, that people assume that I'm not struggling. And it's crap. Even before I got sick, a lot of people would say to me, how are you so confident? Like, you look so confident. You seem so fearless. And I wish I was like that. And it was just like such crap because I'm like, I love that I appear that way, but that's not how I feel. I have days like everybody else where I dissect myself in the mirror and I think like every bad thought about myself, and I do, you know what I mean? Like I have those days like everyone else, and it's insane that people look at me as like a symbol for confidence. Like people used to say that to me a lot, that I seem confident and I seem fearless. And I am pretty confident and pretty fearless, but like I definitely am also extremely insecure, and I can definitely pick myself apart if I let myself do it. I just like don't let myself because it's like kind of a complete waste of fucking time. So that's been a thing. But now that I've gotten better and I go back to school and I can walk and I look pretty much the same as I did sophomore year, people are like, well, you look fine, but people don't realize what I've been through because I don't look like what I've been through. I don't look, I'm not extremely skinny anymore, or, limping when I walk, or, just stuff like that. I don't look extremely sad. I come to school every day, like in a full beat. Like, I'm not even kidding. I come to school every day with a soft glam, hair all blown out every fucking day. My nails are always done. I walk around with my backpack. I get my shit done. I look fine, but I'm not fine. I'm not fine. And it feels so invalidating, especially for me, for people to say stuff like that to me, you look fine, or to get treated as if I didn't go through what I went through. You know what I mean? Because I don't look like I've been through it, but that doesn't mean I haven't been through it. So that kind of transitions to, guys, I told you I'm going to be literally coughing this entire episode. So that kind of transitions into our next topic, which is the weight of trauma. Trauma, to me, everybody has their own definitions. I never Googled definitions, but let's do that today. Actually, I was literally going to give you guys some crap definition I have off the top of my head, but I'm actually going to give the Google definition of trauma. Okay. Trauma is an emotional response to a distressing event or series of events that can cause lasting harm to a person's physical, mental, and social well-being. Trauma can also be caused by a variety of experiences, including natural disasters, acts of violence, car crashes, or other accidents. Wow. Snaps to Google. That was a really good definition. It was much better than anything than I could have come up with. And that was so on point. It is something that you experience or some distressing event or series of events that cause lasting harm. And that's what's gone on with me. You know what I mean? One thing I've learned with my trauma is the difference between physical and emotional trauma. You know what I mean? Because I've experienced both. Sophomore year, I dealt with a lot of emotional trauma. I was completely ridiculed and picked on. I'm sorry, guys. I keep touching my hair. I'm sorry. I was completely picked on and ridiculed in the worst way. And I have to do an episode about it, but I will. I was completely picked on and ridiculed in the worst way about the worst and most stupidest thing in the entire world. And it was awful. And I had a lot of emotional trauma from that. And what does that look like? Because I want to talk about a little bit how trauma manifests within itself. It looks like, to me, what it looked like was having my guard up all the time. You know what I mean? But I was also this big pushover because I wanted to avoid conflict in every single way that I could. I'm not, well, I don't think of that anymore. I'm not the biggest pushover, but I definitely was because I didn't want to be the girl that was always in drama, always in drama, always in drama, always in drama. But that led to me being the girl who's consistently talked about, the girl who's consistently picked on, who people felt comfortable enough, getting in my face and saying really nasty things about me because they know I would try to ignore it. That emotional trauma manifested into physical trauma because then I got really fucking sick. The doctors never found a real cause as to why what happened to me, but in my heart, I truly do believe it was stress. And that really leads us into how trauma manifests. Trauma, it won't stay with you. It manifests differently in everybody, okay? Some people think about their trauma all day, every day. And I have days like that. You know what I mean? All I can think about is what happened to me. And I just remember and I remember and I remember and I remember. Or it can manifest in other ways where it manifests in the way you behave and the way you act towards other people and stuff like that. And I have ways like that too. Now, because of what I went through my sophomore year with the bullying and the ridiculing and all of that stuff, now I've made a promise to myself because of my trauma that I am never going to ever be that emotionally vulnerable again or ever be treated like that again, ever, because of what I went through. So now if I even have an inkling, a little feeling that somebody's going to fuck with me or talk shit about me or get in my face or any of that, I get on guard. I get defensive. I'm even with my closest friends and family, I get defensive. I'm you're not going to get in my face. You're not going to say some shit about me I don't like. You're not going to cross my boundaries. I stand up for myself now. And that's my trauma response. It's a healthier trauma response, but I definitely, I see how much more on guard I am compared to 2 years ago, where I didn't really care what people, well, I did care, but I was trying to avoid conflict so much where I would just let people say stuff to me. You know what I mean? And I'm so different than I was now because of my trauma. Or I have issues trusting people now because of my trauma, because of how badly I was talked about. You know what I mean? Or I have issues sleeping at night even. Some nights last night, I was up to 2 or 3 in the morning because I could not sleep because I just kept remembering and remembering and remembering. I remembered my hospital visits. I looked at pictures of me sick. I remembered everything. I remembered and remembered and remembered and remembered. And that's manifesting into my daily life and manifesting the way I'm treating people and manifest the way I'm treating myself, whether it's good or bad. It's manifesting my sleep patterns. It's manifesting within my life, and it's going to continue to do that. It's going to continue to affect my relationships with myself and other people if I do not address it. You know what I mean? And there's significant, you're probably like, if you watch video podcasts, which I don't feel like anybody does, but if you do, you're probably like, why does she keep looking to the side? Because I have the outline right here, guys. Okay, little ASMR moment in the middle of a conversation about trauma. I'm like, look right here. I actually love ASMR, guys. I'm sorry. There are long-term impacts of untreated trauma, like I said. And the biggest one I've experienced has been anxiety. But there can be, anxiety, depression, and physical symptoms, and, much more. But the biggest one, I want to talk about me because it's literally my life, but I also want to talk about the other stuff. For me has been anxiety. I have become so much more anxious than I was 2 years ago. So much more anxious, completely. I have to take 2 to 3 ashwagandhas, if you know, you know, every day just to get through the day without feeling completely on edge. Because I'm on edge all the time because I'm stressed about stuff. I have like a million. Let me take my glasses off while I say this because I'm like about to be so real. I have like a million racing thoughts all day, every single day. I just think about literally everything. Either it's I remember something somebody said to me, or I remember a situation that triggered me, or I just get triggered and I remember and I remember and I have like these deeply intense flashbacks. Like I will remember exactly what I was wearing, what my hair looked like, what it smelled like, everything. Oh, I hit the mic again. I'm sorry, guys. I will remember every single detail, and I'll close my eyes and it'll be like in the middle of nowhere, and I will just remember like what happened at that moment, like something that hurt me, something that stayed with me long term. I will absolutely remember what happened to me because that's what trauma does. Like it'll stay with you like that. Okay, I have to put my glasses back on because I cannot see, guys. Sorry. It'll stay with you like that. And that anxiety has caused stress. And so now it's this repeating cycle, which is like stress is making me more sick. And I'm stressing about how I don't want to be stressed. So I don't want to be sick. And it's just this loop and this loop and this loop. And it's just manifesting into this anxiety. You know what I mean? Another thing I wanted to talk about when we're talking about trauma is the brain's response to traumatic events. We've always talked to, I'm sure you guys have heard, about fight, flight, or freeze. And I have always been a freeze person. And I hate that because I want to be like a fight person because of how much I've been through. But I want to be a freeze person. Like I'm just naturally a freeze person. I saw somebody who traumatized me a couple of years ago, right? And I saw this person at Summer Smash, if you're from Chicago, and bumped into this person and they tried to start a conversation with me and they called out my name and it was absolutely insane. And like even thinking about it now, I'm like freezing up. And I just remember I was stuck. Like I want to go back and be able to confront that person and have a conversation with that person, but I just was stuck right there. I could not figure out a way to confront this person, how to talk to this person, what we should talk. I couldn't make that list. I could not compile a thing to say this to this person because of my trauma with this person because I'm still unhealed. I have something that's really personal to me that I would rather not share on the podcast. But I have some trauma, from that person from years ago that has manifested in my life and has manifested heavily in my life and in, relationships I've been in. And I'm in therapy now trying to get that shit together. I'm in therapy now trying to repair that relationship with myself and with my, if I ever do get a significant other again because of that, because I've never dealt with that trauma, but I secretly see how it's manifested into my adult life. And I'm freezing up talking about it, so we're just going to move on. Okay, so now I want to talk about coping and moving forward a little bit, okay? Because, actually, I want to talk about, no, I do want to talk about coping and moving forward. Sorry. I had another idea, but I'm back to this. I go to therapy. I am not ashamed to say that. I mean, my very first episode was about therapy, right? But over the summer, if you guys are like OG listeners, whatever. Okay. I'm going to cut. Over the summer, I went to a partial hospitalization program, and it helped so much. I learned a lot about like cognitive behavioral therapy. I learned a lot about dialectical behavioral therapy. I just learned a lot. I learned a lot about thought retraining. I learned a lot. It was a really, really amazing program. And I really liked it. So I definitely am the biggest advocate for therapy. Therapy has helped me a lot because therapy has helped me realize that I'm traumatized. For a really long time, I kept wondering to myself, why am I like this? Why am I so upset? I am out of the hospital. I feel better. I'm back at school. I've gotten everything I wanted so badly when I was in that hospital bed. Why am I still traumatized? Why do I still feel the same way? Therapy's helped me realize I'm like this because I'm traumatized. Like, I've been through a lot, and it's normal to carry the weight of that. You know what I mean? I think, and I want to touch back on this, I think it is so hurtful and so fucking invalidating when you reach out to someone or you automatically assume that you're perfectly fine when you're not because of the way you appear on the outside. I hate that so much. I look fine, but if I'm being completely vulnerable and honest and authentic with you guys, I feel like a broken porcelain doll. And I feel like a porcelain doll that's been dropped on the floor, and I feel like I'm just this these broken pieces of glass that are on the floor, and I feel like people are just stepping on these pieces of glass every day and just creating more and more pieces of glass, and I'm just this like mess on the floor. And hopefully one day I'm going to get up the strength to have, be glued back together with Gorilla Glue or something. But I feel completely fucking broken inside. And it hurts because I still have people around me, people I go to school with, like, or teachers or whoever, who still constantly prey on my downfall. Or that was so good, I want to say, but you know what I mean, who don't want to see me do well, or who still talk about me. And I just think to myself, God, I'm like, is this not enough? Like, I have been through hell and back. I feel broken inside, and why do you want to continue to break me? You know what I mean? So I cope through therapy. I cope through crying. I cry so much. I journal. I write poems. I pray. I have to pray because prayer is the most healing thing to me. I don't want to be like a false teacher. I don't want to touch too much on God because I'm still on my journey with God, and I just don't feel like I'm there enough to like educate people about God and stuff. But prayer has helped me a lot, and completely unheard. It feels so comforting to be able to vent to God and to give, my worries and my concerns to God. That's the kind of stuff I do, guys. I like to pray about it, write it out, cry it out, just vent to God about everything. You know what I mean? Because you can't keep it all inside. You can't keep it all inside. It's never going to work that way. I think one thing you have to do for yourself is realize the biggest thing that has helped me with my trauma is realize that you're traumatized. You know what I mean? And seek help. Go to therapy, talk to your friends and family, or like use other healthy outlets. One thing I told my mom today, I sent my mom this picture here. Let me show you this, guys. I sent my mom this picture today and I posted it on my spam Instagram. It says, please, okay, will it show? Okay. You probably can't see the reflection is like really bad, guys. But it says, please be patient with me. My heart is heavy. And it's of like this little cat who, okay, it's like not gonna show. Of this like little cat who's like all curled up in a ball. And I'm like, oh, God, that's me. I'm working on having conversations with the people around me who are just like, hey, even my teacher's like, hey, I'm going through a lot right now mentally. Last year, I went through a complete physical spiral. The year before that, I was bullied and I went through a lot emotionally. And I need you to be heavy. Like, I need you to be patient with me because my heart is really heavy and I'm battling a lot right now. I'm battling anxiety. I'm battling depression. And I need you to be more patient with me because I'm traumatized. I remember something. It comes back to me in waves. I'm dealing with these really intense flashbacks right now. And I need you to be more patient with me in my daily life, you know what I mean? Because I'm struggling a lot right now. And do stuff for you. You need to prioritize you right now while you're getting through whatever you're traumatized about. You know what I'm saying? Journal it out, write it out. Just know that you cannot hold on to the weight of that by yourself. Journal it out, write it out, scream it out, sing it out, dance it out. I've recently started putting on like dance music and having these like really intense dance parties by myself. And it's been really helpful. Dance it out more often. And then let me stress the importance again of not minimizing someone's pain because it's not visible. Just because I wear it well just because I carry it well does not mean it's not heavy. Just because I look fine does not mean I am fine. I am battling a lot right now. I'm fighting demons, as people would say. I love when people say that. No, I'm fighting my own demons right now. I'm struggling mentally right now. Okay. Do not think that you can treat me like it's any old way or like I'm the old Alex. I'll never be that Alex again. I am been through too much and I'm completely traumatized. I'm bitter. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. I am going through the fucking ringer in my cranium right now. Do not treat me like I'm that person 2 years ago before I was traumatized because I look like the person I was 2 years ago before I was traumatized. It is so important not to treat people like you never know anyone's silent battles. That's why you should be fucking kinder to people. Especially if you know somebody's been through something. Be kinder to them. Like I think I'm the perfect example. If you know me in real life, you know I probably look like a person who hasn't been through it. But if you know me and you know my heart and you like know me like in that way, like like intimately, I'm fucking struggling and I'm doing everything I can every day to put a smile on my face and get through this fucking year and heal while I'm doing it. And I think I'm going to make our next episode maybe a conversation about healing and stuff like that. In day-to-day life, it's hard to deal with trauma. Today, I was really hurt and I was really sad about everything that's happened. I had like a bad Snapchat memory pop up today, like 2 years ago today. I was like, oh my God, right? It's hard to get through day-to-day life when you're traumatized. It's really hard when you're struggling with the flashbacks, with the anxiety, with the depression. It's hard. My tips for it, self-care. Your health is your wealth, right? Mindfulness, praying, and setting boundaries. When I talk about mindfulness, I mean getting into like some of those cognitive behavioral techniques, like grounding techniques. I do grounding techniques all the time. 5 things I can see, 4 things I can hear, 3, like the whole thing. Like I do all that. I'm like, I can see my staircase, I can see my wall, I can see outside. Breathing techniques, journaling, everything I can. Setting those boundaries with people around you. I still have people ask me about stuff that happened in my sophomore year. There was like a big rumor about me sophomore year. And you know what I want to do? I say, this is what I do now. Okay, guys? I set a boundary. I'm like, you know what? I'm not answering any questions about so-and-so this year. I don't want to have this conversation with you anymore. I'm not engaging. Walking away. I'm not even getting myself upset. It's not worth the time, the energy, and the stress to curse you out and be like, bitch, don't ask me about this. Nope. I'm not engaging in this conversation. Setting a boundary. When someone brings up that situation or those specific people that hurt me, I walk the other way. I'm not dealing with it anymore. And I also want to reinforce healing takes time. Healing is not a linear process, and it's okay to not be okay all the time. It's okay to break down and cry. And that's something I have to tell myself. I go to school every day and I try to put on a brave face and I have anxiety attacks. I have panic attacks. I have these awful flashbacks all the time. And it's okay to not be okay. If I want to have, especially since winter's coming up, if I want to have a month or 2 or 6 months where I'm just sad and I wear my hair in this nasty, awful like bun and pajama pants every day and I just cry about it all the time, I deserve that. I've been through a lot and you deserve that too. It's okay to not be strong and be this warrior all the time. You don't have to put up this front. You know what I mean? And that's something I have to tell myself too. We'll remind each other. How about that? I'm still in the process of healing. I was having a little bit of like imposter syndrome this morning. I was like, how can I get up here and do this podcast and give these people advice? And my life is a fucking mess. And I literally ranted about it. And then I actually ranted to Chat GPT. I'm not even kidding. They were like my therapist this morning. And I was reminded that you guys don't listen to me because I'm perfect. You listen to me because I'm authentic. You listen to me because I'm real, and I'm glad I'm able to share my story and explain the process of healing from this trauma. I'm still in the process of healing. I wake up every day and I remember I cry every day. I'm hurt every day. I journal every day. I'm triggered every day. I get through it. When I sit here and I talk to you guys every Monday morning, or yeah, these come out like 9 a.m. on Monday. When you guys hear me every Monday, I'm not, the person that I am Tuesday through Sunday. You know what I mean? I go through a lot and I'm carrying it well, although because I'm carrying it well, it doesn't mean it's easy or it's light. It's actually pretty fucking heavy and it's pretty fucking hard. And I'm navigating that. But I want to let you know, and I want to say this to myself as well. This is like kind of like we're healing each other in a way. Like, I'm here. Let me give you a hug. I'm giving you guys a virtual hug. Okay, I hit the mic. It's okay to not be okay, like I said. And if you're dealing with something right now, please be compassionate with yourself. Be compassionate with your life and be compassionate with your timeline. Healing isn't linear, and just because your circumstances have changed doesn't mean you have to get over it. You don't have to get over it. You don't have to just get over it. That's something I have to remind myself. Just because things have changed now, just because you're not in that situation anymore, it's okay to be traumatized. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to sit in that hurt. It's okay to feel in that hurt. You don't have to just move on with your life. It's not that simple half the time. And it's not that simple. It's not that simple for me right now. Okay. And I really love you guys. I really do. My DMs are always open and I'm really here for you guys. And I'm gonna continue to do a series of like conversations about trauma and healing and love and all of that stuff because that's kind of what I'm here for. And I'm glad I was able to talk to you guys today. I'm glad I was able to be honest and authentic with you guys. I'm very hurt right now. I'm very broken. I cry every day. I cry getting ready for school. I cry on the train. I cry and I cry and I cry and I'm broken and I'm fragile. And I'm hurt. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm sorry for hitting the mic. There's nothing wrong with admitting that, and that's what I have this podcast for, to talk to you guys about. Last reminder, again, just because somebody carries something well doesn't mean it's not heavy. You never know what somebody's going through, so be fucking kinder to people. Please be kinder to people, okay? I don't understand why people are so mean these days. I just don't get it. Okay. Without further ado, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys so much. Everybody who listens every week, it means so much to me. Please, if you listen on Spotify, follow us. Follow us on Apple Podcasts as well, Amazon, whatever you're listening to. Click notifications for the show. We come out every Monday, I think at like 9 a.m. Central Time. I don't know. It's either 9 or 11. I can't remember when I schedule it for. Follow at Literally My Life MGTG on Instagram to stay updated on all things Literally My Life, my guide to girlhood. And remember, my DMs are always open. You're strong, you're beautiful, you're fearless, you're important. And I love you so much. Until next week, guys.